Broadcasting for a worldwide audience.
Didn't press the button hard enough there. Never mind. Good morning. This is Swazzy. You're listening to Saturday Live. And I'm with you for 2 hours from 10 till 12. And today's got a bit of a kind of classic rock theme. That makes it sound like it's going to be really awful, because classic rock, often when you hear an album compilation, it's not good. But I have hand-picked stuff. And the reason for this is because I went to a vintage shop in my lunch break the other day and found a Keith Richards autobiography, Life, written in his own words. I opened it on a page where he talked about how they got banned from America, and he described the police as crazy cats, and I thought, I have to own this book. And so I've been slowly reading this book, and I thought, I'm going to have a listen to some of the Rolling Stones stuff that I haven't listened to before. And the one that I loved, which I'd never ever heard before this week, which is entirely on me, was this one, which is Keith Richards, My Babe.
My baby, don't stand up cheating, my baby. My baby, don't stand up cheating, my baby. My baby, don't stand up cheating, don't stand under the midnight greed, my baby. Ooh, little baby, my baby. I know she loves me, my baby. And hug me, ooh, little baby, my baby. Hey.
The thing that I absolutely love about early Stones is that they wear their blues influences very, very lightly. And from the little bit I read of the book, a lot of that comes from Keith. Definitely. He has quite a few disparaging things about people from Dartford as well. I'm going to get Ben to say hello, because Ben and Nala are in the studio with me.
Hello.
Are you all right?
Yeah, I'm fine.
Nala, you going to say hello as well? No, but she's sitting beautifully. She's you guys are just popping in, aren't you, this morning?
Yeah, it's just dropping off
Flying
some
visit.
work for you.
Thank you. I quite like doing Saturday Live every week.
Well, you can have it if you want.
It's nice. I mean, I'm not saying I can promise to do it every Saturday, but I'm enjoying committing to do it for a month. I think has been a good discipline for me, to be able to come in and It makes me a bit more creative with the music as well, because I have to think about it before I come in.
That's the bit I struggle with. I've been doing it so long.
Yeah, exactly.
Keeping it fresh. That's why I quite often chuck the job to Si.
Yeah. Well, it's nice to mix it up, isn't it? I think it's nice for you guys listening out there as well to hear different voices. But so Ben's enjoying having a break on a Saturday. It means he can have a life.
Means I don't have to have a shave on a Saturday morning.
No one can see you on the radio, Ben.
I'm on camera.
No one can see you. But so how come we've got Nala this morning?
I don't know.
Did she just turn up at your house?
She did yesterday, yeah. I didn't know about it. My friend Joe's little boy Tyler turned up, said, she's here, thank you. Oh, we're in Nala.
Well, that's all right.
And she got left a couple of times yesterday,
Yeah.
and she's not used to that, and she gets a little bit anxious, so I decided to bring her with me this morning.
Oh, she seems very calm now. She likes it in here. She's obviously a happy dog.
And she just follows me around like a little lost lamb, so
Yeah.
she's happy if she's where I am.
Well, if you follow me on Instagram, Swazzy Rogers, you can also follow Radio Lewes, and I shall get a picture of Nala in the studio. Keep trying to get her to wear headphones. She's not having it. She's fair enough, because, dog's heads are not made
She
for
has
headphones.
only got a very little head.
She has got a very little head, but I do manage to get them on Lewis here. I've decided I've called him Lewis.
Lewis.
So every now and again I get headphones on him.
Lewis is the cheap, tacky plastic skull in the studio,
Yes.
for anyone who's
the
interested.
Instagrammers know, because they've seen him before. How did he get here?
He was going to be binned, and I thought, no, that's far too cheap and tacky to be binned. That's got to be in the studio.
He's like a mascot. He's the mascot for How I Feel Sometimes.
We've got a 3/4 size full skeleton upstairs somewhere.
It
It was
started to sound like,
all for a Halloween party.
it started to sound like an episode of The Apprentice where they had to get a skeleton. I don't know. It's all a bit mad. So yeah, I was just telling Ben that I took the boys away for a couple of days down to Dungeness, which we've never been to before. And my youngest, when he got there, said to our hosts, "Do you have any pets?" They said, "Oh, ever so sorry, we don't." And as if by magic, the people next door appeared with 2 parrots, 2 dogs, and a tortoise. And so my son's wishes came true. So we got to walk Pippin the dog, the Pugmation. Half pug, half Dalmatian. Don't even ask. That's not a relationship that I really need to be thinking too much about. And Henry, the crazy Jack Russell. I think all Jack Russells are crazy, aren't they?
Oh yeah, it's built in. It's in
Yeah.
the genes. They're mental.
Yeah, he was great fun, and the boys were running along the beach with the dogs. They came back absolutely soaked, with most of the beach inside their shoes. But I think it's not been a good day unless you've actually got yourself soaked on the beach. So.
Oh, you've got to get barnacle scrapes, sand in your shoes, sand everywhere else you don't want it as well for it. And if you don't do that, it's not a good day.
Exactly. I mean, the seas around there are quite treacherous, and the RNLI are very busy because people are very foolish and do jump into the sea, and the currents are not good.
I've spent a lot of my life fishing at Dungeness.
Have you?
And it is one of the most dangerous stretches of coastline
It is, isn't it?
in the southeast, if not the whole south of England.
Yeah.
The undertow rip there is so strong. You really don't want to be in the water.
Yeah. And yet people do, don't they?
They do. And people get into trouble every year.
Yes. Well, because the RNLI lady we were talking to, we always support the RNLI, so we always go and we have a look at the lifeboat and make a donation, and the kids always end up with something with RNLI on it, because my happy place is either by the sea or in the studio. So being by the sea is a good place for all of us. And
We'll
she
have
was
to
telling.
open a studio near the sea.
I know, that would be great, wouldn't it? How in a beach hut. So that I've got ideas now. That's it. He's planted the seed of an idea. But she was telling us that they have problems along that bit of Dungeness Reserve, but also Camber Sands, which is a little bit further down. Because, again, Camber looks like a really lovely shelving beach, but actually you can get into trouble very quickly.
Yeah, people don't pay enough attention to Camber because it's so flat.
Yeah.
But the tide comes in extremely fast,
Yeah.
and that creates riptides.
Yeah. And this is the thing, the RNLI have said for years and years that should be a patrolled beach all the time.
Oh, absolutely.
And it isn't, because the resource just isn't there. Because the thing that I hadn't appreciated is the RNLI is not government funded, just like air ambulance, not government funded. They rely on donations for support, and it costs about £2 million per day.
Oh, easily.
It is a huge service. And if you think, the UK, we live on an island surrounded by sea. So it's quite important that it's patrolled and looked after. So, it was very, very exciting. And the dogs loved going in the water. Absolutely loved it. Came back soaking wet. And I came back with pockets full of shells and treasure. My son has got into bigger and bigger stones, which means my pockets are generally ripped to shreds because they're full of big stones and what he calls fossils. I'll have to take him down to Lyme Regis and he can get some real fossils. Can you imagine? That would blow his mind.
Take him down to the foot of Beachy Head.
Oh,
find
yes.
lots in the chalk down there.
Oh, that's a good idea. Because I was thinking I'd bring them down here next weekend because we've got the long weekend. Thought I'd do a few things with them then. So there's a few ideas there. I will be telling you what's coming up, but I just wanted to have a quick chat with Ben, really, and I thought you could be party to that as well. I don't often play Janis Joplin, but I think I will today. Now, of course, having played that, it begs the question, why don't I play Janis Joplin more often? I mean, come on. This is going to be one of those shows where I just sit here going, yes, that's a really good tune. I taught my son the other day, I said, when something comes on the radio that you really like, you're supposed to go, tune. So that's what he does now. Except he listens to Kiss, not to denigrate any other stations, but that is his station of choice. I am trying to train him to listen to Mummy on the radio, but he's not having any of it, sadly. Not his thing. So what have we got for you? Well, I've still got more summer holiday stuff to tell you about, and I've got some gigs to tell you about, and there's loads of stuff. Obviously we've got loads of stuff going on. I was down here last weekend for the Edge of the Sea. If you haven't already checked out my page on Facebook, Swazi Radio DJ, I have video clips and stills of all the bands that performed on the Saturday. The only band I didn't get a video clip of was Hawker. They were a bit like they were like Busted. They weren't really my cup of tea. The ones I loved were Sink Your Teeth, who I'm going to try and play. They were just incredible. Loved them. Saw them when they were sort of doing their sound check and just went, yes, these girls are definitely my cup of tea. The Ukrainians, again, bonkers, but brilliant. Some great bands. So if you want to see some little clips of them, go to Swazi Radio DJ on Facebook and you can have a listen to them. And of course, you get the tune of the day as well, which is the thing that I do. So I had a few songs that I had in the playlist last week that I didn't get round to playing, and this was one of them. So I thought, you know what, here's your treat. You can have it today instead.
My motor run,
was The Knack and My Sharona, which I was going to play last week and didn't. So I thought, well, I'll play it this week. There's nothing to stop me from playing it this week. There you go. I'm rambling, sorry. A little bit overexcited because I've got to see a dog. Dog in the studio. I'm loving this idea of having a studio by the beach. That'd be great. I could have a little beach hut and convert it into a radio studio. What do you think? Like an outside broadcast. I'm going to have a chat with John about this and see if we can make it happen. The crazy ideas that come to me. This is what happens. You shouldn't let a lady of a certain age have too many ideas. It's all going a bit crazy. Yes, so the social media links. You can follow me on Twitter, on Instagram, at Swazzy Rogers. I said a few times before I'm in the process of changing my name on social media, but at the moment it still is. On Facebook, it's Swazi Radio DJ. And yes, Radio Lewes is on all of those places as well. If you follow us on Facebook, you can follow Ollie Oyster, who is the voice of Radio Lewes on Facebook. So, gigs that are coming up this month. Now, I don't have my glasses. I've got my contact lenses, which means that it's all going to be very interesting with me trying to read because I've got no idea what's happened to my glasses. So, yeah, we'll see what happens. If you want to go and see Suspiciously Elvis today, it's a fundraising evening supporting local charities at the Con Club. 7:30, £15. Open night, Trouble and Strife, folk, English, trad and miscellaneous at the Ellie. That's at 8 p.m. and that's at £3. Monday, you can see Sarah Oshlag, Darren Beckett, Terry Seabrook and Terry Pack at the Snowdrop, and they'll be playing jazz from 8 p.m. and that's free. Next Saturday, it's open night, all dressed up at the Ellie, and it's a folk, English, traditional and miscellaneous. And that's 8 p.m. and it's £3. Then going to next Sunday, the 25th, Ronnie Size, exclusive influence set with all-day beach and side terrace party at the Delaware Pavilion, 2 p.m. to 11 p.m, £18 to £26 for tickets. That sounds amazing. And of course, don't forget that the Lamb has live music pretty much every day now. So Wednesday's karaoke, Thursday's open mic, Friday live band, Saturday's live band and DJ, and Sunday's afternoon jazz from 12 till 5. That's on Fisher Street in Lewes, and you can find out the details of the acts on www.thelamblewis.com. So there you go. If you fancy some live music, there's tons going on all over the place. I'm going to be going to a gig on Friday, which is not a music gig actually. It's Pete and Dud. It's obviously people being Pete and Dud, and it's some of their famous sketches. So I'm really, really looking forward to that. Going with my lovely friend SJ, because the kids are going away for a holiday this week with their dad. They're going to stay with Granny and Grandpa, so I get the week off. But I'm still going to work. But I get the week off, so it means that I can go out after work, and it means I can stay late and stay out late and, do stuff, be a grown-up for a week, which I'm looking forward to. I mean, I will just go home and just sort out stuff that I haven't got time to do normally. I've got all sorts of very dull parental stuff to do, like sorting through uniform. As I was in Lewes this morning, I walked past a children's shoe shop and thought, I've got to get the children some new school shoes. I've got to check that their shirts still fit, check who's got school trousers that fit and who's grown out of them, because they grow like weeds. I mean, they really do. I measured them the other day. They were saying that, Mummy, you haven't measured our height for ages, and we've got markings on the wall, some of which are rubbing off now, so I must actually make a sort of go over those. And they've grown so much. It's absolutely ridiculous. I mean, I know they do. I know they will. That's what happens. I stopped growing at the age of 12, so I'm amazed and pleased and proud that they will both be taller than me, which I'm really pleased about. My older one will probably be as tall as me in the next year. I said he would be as tall as me when he's 10. I think it's going to be before then. And of course, he's already started making bids for what he wants for his birthday party. So I'm trying to negotiate with him what that's going to be. I don't know. It's going to end up being something that's going to cost money. I don't know what. Last year it was movie and bowling with his mates, which was great. So we might try and do something equally fun and targeted towards his friends. He's not. I mean, they don't expect too much. They're not. They're not kind of spoiled and entitled kids, but they do like to do nice things with their friends. And I stopped doing the kind of hiring a hall and doing a party type thing when they were quite young, just because it's exhausting, and I'm not entirely sure that the parents enjoy it. I don't think the kids get to spend any time doing a lot of time. They don't spend a lot of time with their friends, really. I mean, their friends are there, but they don't really see them very much. And this way, The thing we did for the younger one last year was we hired a room downstairs in a pub. It's a gastro pub where they have a cinema. So we put a movie on for the kids, and the parents could go upstairs and have breakfast, a gastro breakfast, no less. And the kids were watching a movie, and they had popcorn and drinks and sort of had some food as well. It was great. It was good. So I think I might try and sort of do something like that, because it's a bit more intimate, but also it's something that the kids enjoy doing, and if they want to run around, they can, because they're not in a cinema, so they're not bothering anybody else by doing that. I think I might try and do something like that. Yeah. Just talking it through with you, just in case you've got any better ideas.
Holly came from Miami, FLA, hitchhiked her way across USA, plucked her eyebrows on the way, shaved her legs, and then he was a she. She says, hey babe, take a walk on the wild side. Said, hey honey, take a walk on the wild side. Candy came from out on the island. In the back room she was everybody's darling, but she never lost her head. Even when she was given head, she says, hey babe, take a walk on the wild side. Said, hey babe, take a walk on the wild side. And the colored girls go do 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 do. Little Joe never once gave it away. Everybody had to pay and pay. A hustle here and a hustle there. New York City is the place where they said, hey babe, take a walk on the wild side. I said, hey Joe, take a walk on the wild side. Sugar Plum Fairy came and hit the streets, looking for soul food and a place to eat. Went to the Apollo, you should have seen him go, go, go. They said, hey sugar, take a walk on the wild side. I said, hey babe, take a walk on the wild side. Alright. Huh. Jackie is just speeding away. Thought she was James Dean for a day. Then I guess she had to crash. Valium would have helped that patch. I said, hey babe, take a walk on the wild side. I said, hey honey, take a walk on the wild side. And the colored girls say, do 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 do.
Told you it's all going to be classics today, didn't I? There's even better things to come, as if you can believe there's even better things to come. So I'm going to be playing the interview now. It's for a show coming up on the 7th of September, which is going to be at the All Saints Centre in Lewes, and it's called Bernard Shaw is in Town. And this is an interview with Paddy O'Keefe, which was done by Charlotte Williams. So I'm going to play that and I'll tell you a bit more about it afterwards. Paddy, we're very excited that you're coming to Lewes on the 7th of September to perform your one-man play about Bernard Shaw, which you're going to do at the All Saints Arts Centre. One performance at 3 o'clock and the other at 8.
Well, I'm absolutely delighted to be coming to Lewes, because I've taken the show all over Ireland, north and south of the border, throughout England and London, and we've even taken it to Delhi. But this is the first time we'll be in Lewes, so yes, it's great.
Right. And what is it in particular that made you curious about this man?
Well, I was brought up in Dublin, and if you're brought up in Dublin, you feel that you know people like Shaw and Oscar Wilde and Samuel Beckett. They're all around, James Joyce, they're all around, because you know streets that are mentioned in their books and everything. And the actual thing that put me onto Shaw was, as an actor, I was looking for parts. And because I got into acting through a political view, I wanted to do stuff that was either Irish or political. And realised, of course, that Shaw was absolutely both. I mean, very Irish and very very political. Although not often regarded by a lot of English people as being particularly Irish. He was just regarded as a bit of an outsider and a bit of an eccentric. So it was that. I shared his politics. I was delighted with his wit. I didn't know really very much about his works, apart from the fact that he had written Pygmalion, which became My Fair Lady, and St. Joan, of course. We all knew about St. Joan. But I knew something of his wit, and I thought it would be interesting to study him.
So for those of us who don't know, what are his politics, or what were his politics in his day?
Well, he was... It's actually quite difficult to overstate how important he was during his lifetime and how influential he was. He bestrode the theatrical and political world like a colossus. I mean, his output was prodigious. He was a socialist, fundamentally a socialist. He said he became interested in politics because he couldn't understand why it was that some people lived on the fat of the land all their lives and never did a stroke of work, whereas so many more people had lived in abject poverty and worked really hard just to survive. And he thought there was something unfair and unequal about that. So he said he studied Marx, and he said that Marx made a man of him. And so politics was always very important for him. And he started off writing novels when he first came to London, quite unsuccessfully. He said 5 novels in as many years, and all of them rejected by all the major publishers in London and in America. Then he went and did music criticism and then theatre criticism, and realised that he wanted to use the stage as a way of expressing his political views. One of the things about Shaw's plays is that they are invariably plays about ideas, sometimes ideas that had never up till then been treated in the theatre. They're not just romances, or they're not just tragedies. They are plays about ideas.
And what kind of ideas do you think Shaw was trying to convey through his plays?
Well, his very first play was Widowers' Houses, which was based on slum landlords and rack renting and prostitution to some degree. And he then went on to write Mrs. Warren's Profession, which was very much on the topic of prostitution. In fact, he said, I compared Victorian marriage to prostitution, and in the balance, Victorian marriage didn't come out very well. Which is one of the reasons that it wasn't performed, well, not publicly, for about 25 years in this country. And when it was put on in New York, the entire cast and crew were arrested and put in jail while the judge read the play.
Okay. And do you think he has any relevance to us today? I can't really imagine that an old Victorian like him has much to say
to us in the 21st century?
I think he has a great deal to say today. In fact, there's a speech that I put in the play about poverty, and you would think he was talking about food banks and the current state that the state of play that we are. He was talking about basic universal income before it had been considered as anything. He talked of it as pensions, not just for a period of time, but for life and for everyone. Mm-hmm. And of course, people would have to earn their pensions. He wanted to redistribute wealth as well as equalising income. So he was very animated about that. He was very progressive in his support for women's votes. In fact, he was a feminist long before the idea of feminism became fashionable. Wow. So he was quite radical. He was also very, very radical in his views about homosexuality. Uh-huh. He was one of the very few people who supported Oscar Wilde all through his trials, through his imprisonment, and afterwards. And in fact, as a drama critic, he would frequently, while Wilde was languishing in Reading jail, and his name was verboten in social circles in London, he would invariably, in his criticism, in his critiques of plays, he would quote Oscar Wilde and say, Oscar would have done it like this, and quote to the detriment of the play that he was actually critiquing, and say how Oscar would have done it better, which was very good of him, I thought.
So, what parts of his life do you most enjoy bringing to life on the stage? Oh,
that's a difficult question. I love the part where we do the public man, because he's an awful show-off, and so am I. I get a chance to bring out some of his wit and his repartee, and it's satire as well. And I love doing that. And the way he talks about the theatre, he loved the theatre. He wasn't at all show businessy, but he loved the crafting of plays. He loved actors and actresses. He believed that what they were doing was vitally important, especially if they were reading his words. So I love that aspect of it. I also like the political side, because in the play I deal, as I said, with look at poverty. Also his involvement in Irish politics. Mm-hmm. It's not even known in Ireland the degree to which he supported the 1916 rising, although he believed it would be militarily a complete failure. He wanted them to be well treated, and he was absolutely appalled at the summary execution of the leaders. Mm-hmm. And I do a bit in about Roger Casement in there, where he said that he wouldn't support Casement's not guilty plea, because he believed that he was guilty and he should, have a full frontal attack on the British system. But he said, I will write you a play that will echo down the ages, and he did, and we have it in the play. Uh-huh. Okay.
And do you think, on the whole, he was better at making friends or enemies?
That's interesting, yeah, because Oscar Wilde said about him, he said, Shaw doesn't have an enemy in the world, but none of his friends like him. Uh-huh. And there's truth in that. Shaw would agree with that and say something like, well, in fact, I think I say it in the play, well, it's true because I challenge them, because I challenge everybody, he said. And he said, they may not like me, but he said, some of them I know love me. And I think that was true as well. He was a very direct and personable man who didn't go in much for small talk. So he would, if he had something to say or some advice to give, he would be very direct in giving it, which doesn't always sit well with people.
Well, Paddy O'Keefe, thank you very much. I'm really looking forward to seeing the play on September the 7th in Lewes at the All Saints Centre. You can get your ticket, if you want to, from www.irish-theatre.com, or you can buy one at the door for £15. If you buy it online, it's cheaper.
Yes. Actually, I'll make a point about that. With regard to concessions, it's probably a Shavian thing as well. Concessions apply to all trades union members, including equity members.
Lovely. Thank you very much. Okay.
Thank you.
me so I can't sleep at night. Yeah, you really got me now. You got me so I don't know what I'm doing. Oh yeah, you really got me now. You got me so I can't sleep at night. You really got me. You really got me. You really got me. See, don't ever set me free. I always wanna be by your side. Girl, you really got me now. You got me so I can't sleep at night. Yeah, you really got me now. You got me so I don't know what I'm doing. Oh yeah, you really got me now. You got me so I can't sleep at night. You really got me. You really got me. You really got me. See, don't ever set me free. I always wanna be by your side. Girl, you really got me now. You got me so I can't sleep at night. Yeah, you really got me now. You got me so I don't know what I'm doing. Oh yeah, you really got me now. You got me so I can't sleep at night. You really got me. You really got me. You really got me.
I can't even tell you what mucking about I was doing in the studio at that point. I was trying to take some pictures for Instagram and was just sort of just being a bit crazy, really. Yes, so that was Paddy O'Keefe talking about his show Bernard Shaw is in Town. The celebrated Irish playwright, politician and wit Bernard Shaw, also known as Paddy O'Keefe, will be at All Saints Centre, Lewes on Saturday, September the 7th at 3pm and 8pm. Bernard Shaw Invites You, a delightful concoction of humour, wit, politics and emotion. Shaw's thoughts on poverty, inequality, capitalism, socialism and war could not be more up to date. These, together with his wit, wisdom, life and loves, are explored in this critically acclaimed one-man show. The show, starring Paddy O'Keefe and directed by Martin Nichols, won the Argus Angel Award when it premiered in Brighton in 2013. As well as Brighton, Hove and Portslade, it's also had successful runs in London, Dublin and New Delhi. A short synopsis together with some publicity and reviews were included in that interview. So there you go, you've got all the information you need. Online bookings can be made at www.irish-theatre.com and you can find out more about how to get tickets for that. I think that's everything. Tickets are £12, from irishtheatre.com, or £15 on the door if you want to go at the door. This says at the Rialto Theatre, Dyke Road, Brighton, at 3pm and 7pm on Sunday, September the 17th. So he's going to be doing two performances. He's going to do one in Lewes, and then he's going to do another one. So let's have a look at this. 2 hours including a break and a Q&A session for the Lewes one, same for the Brighton one. £10 for concessions, as he said. Union membership will also get you a concession, and two shows, 3 and 8 in Lewes and 3 and 7 in the Brighton show. Sorry, I'm confusing things together there, but anyway, so that sounds good. I'm going to find out whether or not I'm around that weekend and if I can go along to that. And of course, you just heard the Kinks, and you really got me, because I've been kind of revisiting some of the stuff that I've sort of played previously, and I thought, yeah, why not? Let's go for that. It wouldn't be a Saturday without some Bowie, really, and I think you've always got to kind of add a bit of Bowie in there. So, not the rockiest, but I still like it.
your face. Sway through the crowd to an empty space. If you say run, I'll run with you. And if you say hide, we'll hide. Because my love for you would break my heart in two. If you should fall into my arms, tremble like a flower. Feel your grace should fall. For fear tonight is all. You could look into my eyes. Under moonlight, this serious moonlight. And if you say run, I'll run with you. And if you say hide, we'll hide. Because my love for you would break my heart in two. If you should fall into my arms and tremble like a flower. Put on your red shoes and dance the blues to the song we're playing. The serious moonlight.
It's a bit of a remaster, so I'm going to I'm going to call it a day on that one because I don't really want the dance remix. That's not true to the theme of the show. So I've added more songs in though. So that we've got more to choose from now, which is very exciting. I thought you might like some of these ones. So I'm going to try and get Alexa to talk to us in a bit. Last week she worked, so that was great, and it was all very exciting. getting her to chat to us. So shall we see if we can do that? I'm going to tell you a little bit about a silent disco litter pick, which is going to be taking place in Brighton on the beach, which sounds brilliant, actually. It sounds really good. It's the silent disco beach clean, 80s versus 90s versus noughties. And it starts at the Tempest Inn in Brighton, and it's on Sunday the 1st of September at 12. So 12 till 2. You can turn up at any time between 12 and 2. And they will provide you with the headphones. You need to give a deposit or leave some kind of photo ID to get the headphones for the silent disco, and bring your own reusable bag. So either a bag for life or a reusable bag. And it's the first ever Battle of the Decades Beach Clean. Are you Team 90s or Team 2000s? It's time for a regression session on a musical trip down memory lane. So dust off your Furby and update your MySpace page. It's 90s versus noughties. What you get is make your own bubble bar with Lush, free tea from Bird and Blend Tea Company, and bring your own cup for that. Obviously, bring your own reusable cup. Fancy dress competition, noughties versus 90s, and you can meet the folks at Extinction Rebellion Brighton. So it's a drop-in session. Please arrive at the Tempest Inn anytime between 12 and 2. Don't worry if you can't get there at 12. They'll provide the Bluetooth headphones, litter pickers, and gloves. So just bring a deposit for the headphones and your own reusable collection bag, a tote or a bag for life. It's important that you remember to bring a deposit for headphones, either £10, £20, £50 or photo ID. Bring your own bag. Children are very welcome, but parents must be responsible for them. So that is on Sunday the 1st of September, 12th, 12 till 2, and I've got that down in my diary to come along, so I'm going to have to try and persuade the kids that they want to do that. They did actually do a litter pick in Dungeness the other day. Our neighbours that were staying next door, she asked her daughter and my 2 boys if they would be happy to go and do a litter pick. So one bag for treasure and one bag for trash. And they took photographs of any wildlife they saw. It's a great thing. They were really keen to get involved. So I think if you can get kids involved in kind of taking care of the world, which they want to do anyway, really practical things. Whenever we go to the beach, we always pick up litter and throw it. And the principle is to pick up 3 things from the beach and throw them in the bin. We always do more than 3. And I try and teach the children that, be safe. Don't pick up things that might cut you or hurt you. If it's dirty, don't pick it up unless you've, got gloves or, tissue or something. But we know we're all responsible for the environment. So this sounds like a great thing to get involved with. I think that sounds brilliant. So I'm going to play another track, and then hopefully we will have an update from you-know-who sitting over here on the counter. But before that, I thought we'd have a bit of Bruce.
Sprung from cages on high. fire drones scream down the boulevard. Girls comb their hairs in rearview mirrors, and the boys try to look so hard. The amusement park rides are full and start. Kids are up on the beach in the mirrors. I wanna die with you, Wendy, on the street tonight, and another lasting kiss. The highway's jammed with broken heroes on a last chance power drive. Everybody's out on the run tonight, but there's no place left to hide. Together, Wendy, we can live with the sadness. I love you with all the madness in my soul. Oh, someday, girl, I don't know when we're gonna get to that place where we really wanna go and we'll walk in the sun. But till then, tramps like us, baby, we were born to run. Oh, honey, tramps like us, baby, we were born to run. Come on, Wendy, tramps like us, baby, we were born to run.
Here's your news. In weather, in Lewes, it's 17 degrees Celsius with cloudy skies. Today's forecast calls for more of the same, with a high of 20 degrees and a low of 15 degrees. From BBC Sports News.
The latest BBC Sport update.
Stuart Broad says patience will be the key if England are to win the second Ashes Test. That's despite having lost a day and a half to the rain. Australia will begin day 4 on 80 for 4 this morning, still 178 runs behind England's first innings total of 258.
The key is not to feel like we have to rush and everything has to happen in the first hour. There's still 98 overs of each day to come in 2 days. So that's a lot of cricket, and we believe we can get a result in this game. And actually, I think it's set up for a brilliant 2 days cricket.
And there's commentary of day 4 and Test match special coverage gets underway on 5 Live Sports Extra from 10 o'clock. Manchester City manager Pep Guardiola believes that Raheem Sterling is capable of scoring 30 goals this season, but he's not putting on any pressure on him to do so. Sterling started the season with a hat-trick at West Ham and will look to add to it at home to Tottenham this evening.
When he's in front of the goal, put it in the net. So he can do it, yeah. It was 24 to 30, some 6 goals. So he can do it, but I wouldn't judge him. He scored 3 goals or 35 or 20, would be happier or not. So when he scored goals, I'm happy. But if he does what he has to do for him, for the team, it's enough.
We'll have updates of Manchester City against Tottenham in 5 Live Sport. Before that, with full commentary of Southampton at home to Liverpool. We'll also keep you across the early game. That's between Arsenal and Burnley. The Arsenal manager Unai Emery is expecting a tough test against the Burnley side who started the season with victory at home to Southampton.
They are in a very good moment. They won 3-0, but very amazing precision. And they are very strong team with one structure very clear. They are a team with a good coach.
Bayern Munich have agreed to sign Philippe Coutinho from Barcelona on a season-long loan. That's with the option to buy. That move's expected to be completed in the coming days. Huddersfield Town sacked their head coach Jan Sievert last night. The 2-1 defeat to Fulham ended his 7-month tenure, where he won just once in 19. Celtic manager Neil Lennon says their Scottish League Cup second-round tie at home to Dunfermline this afternoon will be a test of character for his players after their Champions League exit. Celtic were knocked out in the third qualifying round by Cluj in midweek. England continue their Rugby World Cup preparations with a second warm-up game within a week against Wales after their 33-19 victory at Twickenham last Sunday. What's head coach Eddie Jones hoping for to get out of today in Cardiff?
One's from a selection point of view of players being able to back up and perform game on game. The second thing is, we're playing against a certain opposition that play a certain way, so we want to be able to handle their tactics and then be able to adapt and find a way to win.
Radio Wales has commentary from 2:15, and right now you can watch the men's and the women's speed final at the Climbing World Championships. That's available on the Red Button and the BBC Sport website and app. That's the latest from BBC Sport.
BBC Sport from BBC News.
Time for an update now of the latest stories from the BBC. 10 people aged between 13 and 30 have been arrested and are being questioned on suspicion of murdering a police officer in Berkshire. PC Andrew Harper was apparently dragged along the road by a vehicle as he responded to reports of a burglary on Thursday night. The US is trying to seize the Iranian oil tanker that was held in Gibraltar. Yesterday, a judge in the British territory in Spain ordered it to be released. The US is arguing that the people in charge of the tanker, which they claim was illegally taking oil to Syria, have broken money laundering and fraud laws. Conservative Remainer Oliver Letwin has said he doesn't support plans to get Jeremy Corbyn into number 10, leading a short-term national government. Labour's leader wants to topple Boris Johnson with a no-confidence vote and then take charge to stop a no-deal Brexit, which we're heading for if nothing changes on the 31st of October. Other anti-government politicians believe a cabinet headed up by Ken Clarke and Harriet Harman would be better. Sajid Javid's hinted he'll cut taxes as Chancellor. He's not ruled out sellers having to pay stamp duty in his first budget in the autumn. He's also said low earners should be the first people governments think of when making changes to the tax laws. Thousands of teachers in Hong Kong are on the streets in protest at the proposed extradition law changes there. It's the 11th week of demonstrations about it. The UN has accused Hong Kong police of being heavy-handed. Meanwhile, the star of Disney's remake of Mulan, China's Li Yufei, has said she supports the police there, and that's led to a campaign to start for a worldwide boycott of the film. And the death of the American billionaire Jeffrey Epstein's officially been ruled a suicide. The convicted paedophile was awaiting sex trafficking charges and found dead in his New York jail cell last week.
Well, there you go. Thank you very much, Alexa, for the news and for the sport. Cheery though it was not. So what else is happening? Well, I've told you about this gig already, but it's not happened yet, so I can tell you about it again. This is Alvin Gibbs and the Disobedient Servants, who are going to be performing at the Con Club on Sunday the 8th of September. Tickets are £10 in advance. You can get them from our friend at Psy Sounds, you can get them from Punka Bunker, and you can get them from Eventbrite. It's going to be featuring Alvin Gibbs and Jamie Oliver from UK Subs and Lee Hegarty from Ruts DC. And their support is Charlie Harper and Criminal Mind. So there you go. And the thing I was telling you about, the Pete and Dud thing, I'll look that up for you and tell you, but it is at Dingwalls in Camden, so it's a bit of a trek away, but if you fancy it, let me see what I can find. Pete and Dud. I'm trying to find the ticket, and I have a feeling I'm not going to find it. So I can play you more music instead, actually, which is great. Oh, here we go. Goodbye. The Afterlife of Cook and More, which is going to be on at Dingwalls. It's on every Friday, I think. Dudley Moore dies and he finds himself in a bar. This must be heaven, not quite. This bizarre bar is in a comedian's in limbo run by his old partner, Peter Cook. And they face divine judgment for Derek and Clive. Not the best of friends in life, the scene is set for showdown, with Pete and Dud have had to resolve their differences, confront their past and face their future in heaven or hell. Along the way, the darkly surreal comic fantasy, they're visited by other dead comics whose lives they influence for good or bad, including Peter Sellers, Tony Hancock, Kenneth Williams and Frankie Howard. So it sounds brilliant. I think I'm really looking forward to seeing it with my lovely friend, and it should be good. I shall tell you all about it when I come out the other side of it. So I'm pretty sure that I took the kids to see a show, which I can tell you about, or that we've got a show coming up. I'm being a bit useless, aren't I? The dates that this Pete and Dud thing are available are Friday, the the 24th, which is the 23rd, which is when I'm going. Saturday the 24th. It's on today, and also Friday the 30th. So if you want to get down there for that, it will be doors open at 7. Show starts at 8. There is actually one on tonight, which I suppose I could go and see it twice, couldn't I? Could do. Yeah, I'm not gonna, but I could do. So yeah, that's the Pete and Dud thing, which I thought I would let you know about because it sounds great. I like that sort of revisiting these comedians. A few years ago, well, more than a few years ago, it was before my son was born, so it's definitely more than 10 years ago. I went to the Edinburgh Festival, and there was a guy performing as Bill Hicks, who was a comedian who, not to everyone's cup of tea. I think in death, I think lots more people said that they were fans of his than had been in life. He was quite challenging. He was a very challenging comedian, but you watch his stuff now and you just go, yeah, everything he said then is relevant now, as great comedy often is, relevant throughout the decades and actually isn't just pertinent to its time. So a great performer doing some of Bill Hicks's old stuff. So revisiting old comedy and old sketches is quite a kind of common thing. I think last year, I went to see it was really strange because I'm obviously not old enough to remember the Goons, but this was some of the sketches by the Goons being performed at the Churchill Theatre. It was brilliant. It was really, really good. I don't know necessarily all of the conventions of that because I didn't grow up with it, but it was great fun. I think sometimes it's nice to reintroduce audiences to comedy from the past, especially when it is quite challenging. And I think some of Pete and Dud's comedy is quite challenging. Yes, hilarious, but can be challenging. And I love the fact that Peter Cook would always get Dud to corpse. He would see it as his aim in life to get him to corpse. So you'd watch him trying desperately not to laugh in the black and white sketches. They're great. If you get a chance to watch them, don't do it while I'm on air, obviously. But no, they're brilliant. It's great fun. So yeah, if you fancy coming up to London, why not?
Thing. The ice age is coming, the sun's zooming in, meltdown expected, the wheat is going thin, engines stop running, but I have no fear, cause London is drowning. I live by the river, to the imitation zone, forget it brother, you can go it alone. London calling to the zombies of death, quit holding out and draw another breath. London calling, and I don't want to shout, but while we were talking, I saw you nodding out. London calling, see we ain't got no hide, except for that one with the yellowy eyes. The ice age is coming, the sun's zooming in, engines stop running, the wheat is going thin, a nuclear error, but I have no fear, cause London is drowning. but some of it was true. London calling at the top of the dial, and after all this, won't you give me a smile? I never felt so much alike.
That's, of course, The Clash from London Calling. Now, there's going to be an exhibition at the Museum of London later this year. On the 15th of November, the Museum of London will open a display celebrating The Clash's iconic London Calling, an album that rocked the music scene, serving as an anthem for London, Londoners and music lovers globally. To honour this truly London anniversary, the Museum of London will showcase personal objects, images, music and memories never seen before in a free display. London Calling was and is a hugely compelling melting pot of musical styles, driven by a passion for action and a fierce drive for social justice. The album's music and lyrics remain as relevant today as they were on release. As well as showcasing the influences and context to the writing and recording of the seminal double album, this new exclusive display at the Museum of London will examine how the Capitol influenced The Clash as they became the most popular British band of the 20th century. I think they're also going to have Joe Strummer's notebook, which in itself is probably worth it. To reflect the band's diverse range of political, emotional and musical interests, a broad range of items will be on show, including Paul Simone's broken Fender precision bass, smashed on stage at the Palladium in New York City on the 21st of September 1979. Mick Jones' handwritten album sequencing note, Joe Strummer's notebook from the period when the album London Calling was rehearsed and recorded, Joe Strummer's typewriter used to document ideas, lyrics and other writing. To coincide with the opening of the display on the 15th of November, Sony Music will release the London Calling scrapbook, a 20-page hardback companion which comes with the album and contains handwritten lyrics, notes, photos and previously unseen material from the period when the record was made. And it says here, London Calling is The Clash's defining album, a rallying call for Londoners and people around the world. The album's lyrics reflect contemporary concerns, many of which are still relevant today, as it moved away from traditional punk by adopting and reworking much wider musical influences. So there you go. Sounds fantastic. I'm going to be going down there, definitely. The Museum of London is great. It's a little bit tucked away. I used to work not far from there and would sometimes go there at lunchtime and just have a little stroll. It's a funny bit of London around their London Wall. So I've still been watching this programme about punk, which has been on a Friday night, and they interview some amazing people who talk about their early influences and what it was like for them to be in a punk band and to be involved in the whole punk. And the biggest surprise for me was firstly that John Lydon took part in it, and also how he looks now. He looks so different. If you get a chance to watch it, it's great. But I just thought I'd throw this one in here. playing that for my lovely friend Nikki, who lives in Australia, but is still a punk at heart. Aren't you, love? It was Madonna's birthday yesterday. I suppose I should play a Madonna track at some point. She's not really very rocky, but I'm sure I can find something from her. A few years ago, I was lucky enough to go with my lovely friend Vicky to see The Who performing at Wembley. And, this is quite a few years ago now. They were incredible. They were absolutely incredible. I'd never, ever seen them before, and I don't think I've seen them since, actually. It was a really brilliant gig. And I think we were sitting in the kind of restauranty bit. This was after Wembley Arena had been done up. I used to steward there many, many years ago when I was at uni. And it's very different now from how it was then. And we were sitting there, and there were quite a few sort of teen, young adults who had backstage passes. And my friend Vicky surmised that they must be the kids of the band. Although, to be fair, they were probably grandkids of the band, considering the age of the guys. But so many great songs by The Who, but I picked this one. We'll see what you think. Baba O'Reilly. Just thought thought it'd be a laugh. Be a laugh. If you want to get tickets for some gigs from Size Sounds, you've still got time to get tickets for Oasis, OAYSAS, for the 7th of September, £15. Total Stone Roses, which is going to be on the 11th of October, it's £15. Zion Train, 13th of September, this is all in different order, £15. The Guana Bats, was it the Gugana Bats? I think it's the Guana Bats. 2nd of November, £18. Polecats, 20th of October, £18. There is no booking fee if you buy from Psy, and there will be plenty more acts to come in the coming weeks and months and whatever else. So what else is coming up? We've got loads of stuff coming up in the theatre. So if you want to see Annie, I mentioned Annie last time. Now, come on. It's finishing today, but it looked brilliant with Leslie Joseph in it. So if you haven't had a chance to see it, try. Otherwise, you'll have to see it somewhere else. And then we've got, starting on Tuesday, Sarah Waters' The Night Watch. The Night Watch is the thrilling and beautiful story from the award-winning #1 best-selling author Sarah Waters, who wrote Tipping the Velvet, The Paying Guest and The Little Stranger. Set in London in the 1940s, we follow the lives and loves of people recovering from the chaos of war. It's a story of everyday heroism, takes us from to dazed and shattered post-war Britain back into the heart of the Blitz towards the secrets that are hidden there. Tickets are from Tuesday to Thursday at 7:45 show are from £19. Friday and Saturday the tickets are for the 7:45 show, and they are slightly more expensive at £21, £24.50 and £26.50. Wednesday and Saturday matinees at 2:30. Tickets are £19 and £22. Concessions are £1.50 off, and groups of 10 or more have 10% off, and that's for the 6:45 show only. Under 15s and students, it's £9 for a ticket. Under 25s, it's £10. Friends of Devonshire Park Theatre get 25% on the first night and Tuesday night only. After that, we've got Beyond the Barricade, which starts next Saturday the 24th. Celebrating fantastic 20 years touring in 2019, the new show will include many of the best numbers that have been Beyond the Barricade, the most popular musical theatre concert in the country. Then you've got the Len Phillips Big Band and Singers on Sunday the 25th of August. These are all at the Congress Theatre. And then we've got Fame, I'm Gonna Live Forever. This is the production I saw with Misha Paris in it, and she's just not in it enough, really, for my liking. I love Misha Paris. I could have watched her all night, so really she needed to be in it more. That's from Monday the 2nd to Saturday the 7th of September at the Congress Theatre. And then Amelie the musical, starring Danny Mack as Nino. Amelie is an astonishing young woman who lives quietly in the world but loudly in her mind, and that's from Monday the 9th to Saturday the 14th of September. I liked it. Didn't love it. It was okay. And then there's loads of other stuff coming, which I will tell you about later in the day. So, like I said, I've been doing Saturday Live every Saturday for the whole of August, which means you've got another 2 weeks of me. So you've got me next week and the week after. Lucky, lucky you. What have you done to deserve this? You're probably wondering the same thing, I'm sure. And thinking, what have we done to deserve this? But, stick with it. It'll be fine. We'll all get through this together, I promise you. So, the continuing rock track. Now, I've got quite a few bits and pieces on here, but I did say I was going to play something for Madonna. So let's do the song for Madonna in case I forget. And we'll do Madonna, we'll do Blondie, and then we might we might loop round again. So Madonna did actually do a cover of a very classic American rock track. Oh, is it a rock track? Well, sort of. So this is Madonna's version of American Pie. Happy birthday, Em. She's not playing. I don't know why. Hey, Em, why are you not playing? Hi.
A long, long time ago, I can still remember how that music used to make me smile. And I knew that if I had my chance, I could make those people dance. And maybe they'd be happy for a while. day the music died. We started singing bye bye Miss American Pie. Drove my Chevy to the levee, but the levee was dry. And good old boys were drinking whiskey and rye, singing this will be the day that I die. This will be the day that I die. Bye bye Miss American Pie. Drove my Chevy to the levee, but the levee was dry. And good old boys were drinking whiskey and rye, singing this will be the day that I die. This will be the day that I die. We started singing. We started singing. We started singing. We started singing.
It's from the album Music. Not, it was quite patchy. I didn't like everything on that album. I'm sure she's absolutely devastated that I didn't like everything on her album. I'm sure Madonna has many concerns about me not liking her stuff. It's probably top of her list of worries that I don't like her stuff. Sorry, Em. But Mikey, I'm playing that for you, my darling, because I saw actually that she's performing at the London Palladium, I think next year, February. I didn't even look at ticket prices. I went to see Madonna with my friend Joe quite a few years ago, and we saw her performing, and she did the whole thing where she had the kind of gantry off the ceiling and kind of did lots of acrobatics and stuff, which, I mean, the woman is 61. She's incredible. She is absolute inspiration. I'm going to be 50 next year. I may have mentioned it. And I aspire to the levels of athleticism that Madonna has at 61. I've got some things that I'm going to try and sort of do next year. One of the things I've set myself as an ambition is to do a triathlon. And one of my colleagues at work, who is a full 13 years younger than me, has said, oh, I'll do it with you. I thought, it's very kind, Adam, but I'm not entirely sure that that's wise. Because it'll just make me feel bad. But never mind. It was his birthday last week, so I went and tongue-in-cheek bought him Diana Ross single. No, Donna Summer single, Muscles. Is it Diana Ross? Donna Summer. I'll have a look. And it was entirely tongue-in-cheek, as I say. It was just a joke, because he is on a fitness thing at the moment. I think possibly an age thing. He's sort of thinking, oh, you know, I want to be fit and healthy. And so I bought him that. And a joke... It's Diana Ross, Muscles. Also a book called 5 Go on a Strategy Away Day Weekend, which is a kind of, you know, the parody of the Enid Blyton books. I just thought it'd be funny. Gotta have a laugh, ain't you? Gotta have a laugh. Right, so there's so much, isn't there? There's so much. I mean, I've told you about what's going on at Brighton Beach. I've told you about Luna Cinema. I've told you about the gigs. There's a bajillion things going on. I'm going to play you more music because I think that's a good idea. And I promised you Blondie. There's so many Blondie tracks that I love. And I absolutely adore Debbie Harry. Of the people I wanted to be when I grew up, Susie Sue and Blondie were top of the list. I wanted actually to be Blondie more than anything. And then I found out Susie Sue shares my birthday, so it became more doable to be Susie Sue. And also she hung out with people like the Sex Pistols, you know, she was really cool. So, but Blondie, yeah, Debbie Harry, still my go-to icon. I still hope to look like her.
Color me your color, baby. Color me
always loved how the band would always insist that it was the band that was called Blondie, not Debbie Harry. And yet if you look at the band, they all had dark hair. She was the only blonde. It's not like the Police where they were all blonde. So that was the look, you know. They were three blonde guys. So, I don't know. They could have been called Blondie, I suppose. But they weren't. It's not making sense now, is it? So today and tomorrow, Colorscape. I mentioned this last week. A labyrinth of colour, light and music. Explore countless interlinked rainbow chambers with extraordinary light and colour experiences along the way. You could also join in with musicians who'll be playing an array of different instruments. This is at Charleston, 11 till 4, £6 or £3, free for children under 2. And also the New Haven Festival starts today. So there's loads of stuff going on. There's the Art Wave posters all around Lewes. And there's some fantastic art stuff going on. So you can look that up if you go to newhavenfestival.co.uk for a full programme of events. I did go through most of them last week, but it'll take a long time if I do it. So you go and have a look. Thursday the 22nd, there's a film, Sea of Life, part of the Eco Film Night series showing films about the environment. This is at Pell's Pool at 9pm. And you can go to pellspool.org.uk to book a ticket for that. From looking at the website last time, it said if there is a lifeguard, you can also swim. But the idea is that you go along and you watch a film, an eco film. Friday the 23rd, Lewes Youth Band debut concert, an evening of jazz and big band standards and the world premiere of a new composition performed by young musicians from all around the southeast. That's at All Saints at 7 o'clock. And that is free. You can also go Friday the 23rd to Monday the 26th to the Byline Festival, arts festival with music, stalls, workshops, comedy and more. Pippingford Park. Go to bylinefestival.com. Curious Arts Festival, boutique festival with line-up musicians, authors, comedians, filmmakers and children's entertainers. That's at Pippingford Park as well, and that's curiousartsfestival.com. And Saturday the 24th, Wuthering Heights at the Chapter House Theatre. The Chapter House Theatre Company present The Wild and Tempestuous Love Story. That's going to be at Lewes Castle, Gun Garden. Gates open at 6pm for picnics and the show starts at 7. Tickets are £16 or £11. And then on Sunday the 25th, there is the Surrealist Picnic, annual picnic event with live jazz bands and surreal performance. Dressing up and creative picnicking are encouraged, and that's at Farley House and Gallery, 4 till 8pm, and it's £15. I like the sound of surreal picnicking. Creative picnicking. That sounds brilliant, doesn't it? Don't you think? I've never tried creative picnicking. I think it's possibly something I could possibly try. Now, there's a film coming out called Blinded by the Light, which is about a young Asian lad growing up in Luton who is in love, whose love of Bruce Springsteen marks him out as different. And I talked about this and my own personal experience of that. So I thought I should play Manfred Mann, Blinded by the Light. It's a tenuous connection, I'll give you that, but, you know, it works.
Blinded by the light, wrapped up like a douche, another runner in the night. Blinded by the light, wrapped up like a douche, another runner in the night. Blinded by the light, if it was safe outside. And little early birdie came by in his curly whirly and asked me if I needed a ride. Asked me if I needed a ride. Well, she was blinded by the light, wrapped up like a douche, another runner in the night, blinded by the light. She got down, but she never got tight. She's gonna make it to the night. She's gonna make it through. Another runner in the night, blinded by the light, wrapped up like a douche. Another runner in the night, blinded by the light, wrapped up like a douche. Another runner in the night, in the dark with the monks as the adolescent pumps his way to his night. With a boulder on my shoulder, feeling kinda older, I track the merry-go-round with his very pleasing sneeze and wheeze and let the life be crashed to the ground. Now Scott with a slingshot blindly found a tender spot over his sand. And some bloodshot forget-me-nots and daddies with an airshot take the buckshot dirt up the band. Some sailing cold sister with the manager mister told me I got what it takes. She said I'll turn you up, sonny, to something strong. She got down, but she never got tight. She's gonna make it through the night.
Manfred Mann's Earth Band. Now, that's a go and make a cup of tea track, isn't it? I wish I'd known that earlier, because I'm going to use that to go and make a cup of tea. How are you surviving the summer holidays? Those of you who have small people to look after, or not so small people in my case, because I'm small and they're catching me up rapidly. If you're still looking for things to do, on Tuesday, Plants and Potions. Explore the plants in this castle garden and find out how they've been used in the past. Hands-on activities, textiles and quizzes is at Anne of Cleves, 1 till 4. Prices included in the admission for the castle. Thursday 22nd, Attack a Castle, summer fun for 4 to 8-year-olds. Try on some armour and make model castles and mangonels to take away. This is at Lewes Castle, 10:30 and 2pm, and it's £5 to take part. Friday the 23rd is an animation workshop. 2 workshops run by Catfish Collective, one for ages 8 to 12 years and one for 13 to 18 years. Is at the depot. There'll be sessions at 10 and at 12:30. Go to lewisdepot.org for more information. And then Spinning Yarns, Tuesday the 27th. Drop in and listen to the tale of Rumpelstiltskin, tell your own fairy tales and have a go at spinning wool and stitching fabric. All ages are welcome. That's at Anne of Cleves, 1 till 4. Prices included in admission. So loads of stuff you could be doing. You know, mine are going to be away next week, as I say, and then they're going to tennis camp, and then they've got a few random days here and there. I'm taking them to the outdoor cinema at Hampton Court this weekend. The weather's not supposed to be all that good, though. So I might have to take a giant umbrella, although a lot of outdoor cinemas say you can't put up umbrellas, so it might not be all that much fun. But we'll see. I'm sure I'll be okay. So, time for a few more tracks. Oh, so many to choose. And it's so tough. But I heard this one the other day and I thought I'll play this one because it's great.
Take me now, baby, here as I am. Pull me close, try and understand. Desire is hunger, is the fire I breathe. Love is a banquet on which we feed. Come on now, try and understand the way I feel when I'm in your head. Take my hand from undercover. They can't hurt you now, can't hurt you now, can't hurt you now. Because the night belongs to lovers. Because the night belongs to life. Because the night belongs to lovers. Because the night belongs to us. Have I doubt when I'm alone? Love is the ring, the telephone. Love is an angel disguised as lust. Here in our bed until the morning comes. Come on now, try and understand the way I feel under your command. Take my hand as the sun descends. They can't touch you now, can't touch you now, can't touch you now. Because the night belongs to lovers. Because the night belongs
Patti Smith, Because the Night. So I'm just sort of working out one or two tracks. Oh, let's just give it a go.
Well, I started out down a dirty road. Started out all alone, and the sun went down as I crossed the hill, and the town lit up. The world got still. I'm learning to fly, but I ain't got wings. Coming down is the hardest thing. Well, the good old days may not return, and the rocks might melt, and the seed may burn. I'm learning to fly, but I ain't got wings. Coming down is the hardest thing. Some say life will beat you down and break your heart, steal your crown. So it started out for God knows where. I guess I'll know when I get there. I'm learning to fly around the clouds. But what goes up must come down. I'm learning to fly, but I ain't got wings. Coming down is the hardest thing. I'm learning to fly around the clouds, but what goes up must come down. I'm learning to fly. I'm learning to fly.
Tom Petty and the Heartbreakers, Learning to Fly. That's the last one I'm going to play for you today. And I'm just going to say thank you. Well, it might not be the last one. I might just sneak another one in. Thank you so much for joining me today. 2 hours of music and inane chatter. That's what I normally call it, isn't it? So I hope you've enjoyed the music. If you've missed any of the show, you can listen to it on Spreaker, or you can listen to it on Spotify. I usually download it on Spotify and then have a listen during the week just to see how many mistakes I made. Last week I made a few. I can't remember what they all were, but they were a couple where I thought, oh, no, that wasn't right, was it? And as I was listening to it, I thought, no, I must correct that next week. And of course, I didn't write down what the mistakes were. So I can't remember now. But there were a couple of errors. I think there was a movie title I got wrong, or something else that I got wrong. So I apologise for the mistakes. It just shows that this show is thrown together, and sometimes the stuff just comes rattling out without preparation and research. So I hope that's all right. You can follow us on social media. You can follow us on Instagram, Radio Lewes. Twitter, Radio Lewes. On Facebook, it's Ollie Oyster. You can also follow me, Swazzy Rogers, on Twitter, Swazzy Rogers on Instagram, and Swazzy Radio DJ on Facebook. I'll be back with you again from 10 till 12 next Saturday. Not entirely sure what the theme will be. If you've got an idea for a theme, get in touch with me. You can always let me know what you'd like, just like Mikey did last week about the 80s, and just like people let me know every now and again that they're interested in something. Otherwise, I will stumble across a book in a second-hand store, and that will be the beginnings of a beautiful theme for the day. So that's what will happen. Anyway, I'll be back with you again next week. Thank you and good afternoon.
Radio Lewes. Local webcasting for a worldwide audience.